Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about the actual Thursday livestream before we get to the Tuesday livestream. And so this is going to be the festival reprints, and King of Knights Alfred himself also made an appearance in the Skyride Manga with Aichi. So probably the most exciting reveal we got in terms of encounters until we get, like Platinum Ezel and Daikaiser. But anyways, we have King of Knights Alfred himself, continuous Vanguard circle. During your turn, this unit cannot be boosted, and if your soul has a blaster blade, this unit gets power plus 2k for each of your rearguards, and then if it got 8k or more and your opponent's Vanguard is greater or greater, this card gets crit plus 1. So immediate crit pressure as soon as you ride up, unless you went first and your opponent, or I don't know, superior ride it with Ezel or whatever. Unless you went basically first, you're going to have crit plus 1 pressure on your Van always, which is really good. And then add to Vanguard circle once per turn, cost energy plus 3, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 or less card with only Royal Paladin for his clan, call to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck, choose one of that unit's auto abilities, and reduce the next time you pay the cost of the unit's ability by counter plus 1 until end of turn, so basically making it 1 CP less. And then auto Vanguard circle once per turn, when this unit attacks, cost counter plus 1, choose one of your rearguards with only Royal Paladin in its clan, and stand it. If your opponent's Vanguard is greater or greater, you get to stand 2 instead of 1, so 5 attacks. So overall, I think Alfred is a really solid Vanguard. You're getting up to 10k power and a crit, not including Persona Ride. You have tutorable rearguards of Royal Paladin that you can call, including your Wincom, which is the 0 Gallatin that we got from last week. And we also have the counter boss 1, 2, 4 attacks going first, or 5 attacks going second, which is really strong. So you're kind of playing like catch up, and you have a lot of really good resource cards such as like Coca and other stuff we'll talk about later in the deck list. Just to cover Alfred, I think he's really solid. You do have to play Blaster Blade and Ride Line essentially to guarantee that crit, but besides that, he's a really good card overall. So moving on to Shining Wingstar Fragile, he's basically the Soul Saver rearguard support for Alfred. Continuous, this card is also regarded as Soul Saver Dragon, and he is Royal Paladin clan by the way, so you can call him off Alfred's skill. Continuous rearguard circle during turn, if you Vanguard with Alfred's card, this unit gets power plus 5k, and if your opponent's Vanguard is greater or greater, it also gets the following. So unfortunately, the effects or the good effects of the card basically are all locked to when your opponent's grade 3. So going first, he's kind of a vanilla, he's just 18k beater pretty much. The following text he gains is auto rearguard circle. At the beginning of your battle phase, you can cost counter boss 1, choose 3 of your units and they get power plus 5k until end of turn. If you Persona roll this turn, you choose all of your units instead of 3. So your entire board is getting plus 5k, so your columns are basically 10k bigger, and Alfred's going to be getting basically 28. 10 for your rears and then maybe Persona, so he could be reaching 28, 38, usually around that. And then auto rearguard circle, when this unit attacks, if your unit was stand by your Vanguard's ability this turn, and no draw checks were performed for the battle that your rearguard attack this turn, you cost Soul Boss 1 card with Alfred in its card name. Until end of that battle, increase or decrease the unit's drive to 1, and it performs drive check. So it basically performs 1 drive check, essentially. So thoughts on Virgilia, it's a solid unit. Unfortunately, it's basically an 18k beat stick, again, going first. But going second, you have power to your entire board, which is really strong if you're Persona road. You get power to plus 3 units, so you're basically scaling over defensive, which is really nice. Soul Blasting 1 card with Alfred may seem a little bit hefty as a cost, but you have Coca to put it from hand into soul in case you need to play like a catch-up game and start performing drives as soon as you went second. It's honestly really helpful for catching up going second, and again is tutorable because you can call it off Alfred. So quickly to go over Zero again, this is like your win con of the deck because it says no auto, so essentially denies like a lot of things. Essentially PGs, the main thing that it denies. Blitz Orders and Elementaria don't use auto, so they can get around Gallatin, which is basically like the main way to out the card. But besides that, Zero is the strongest card of the deck essentially. It's your biggest beater. It doesn't perform drive checks because you're going to swing Virgilia first to do those drive checks, but it's a really big number and your opponent can't PG it. So that's basically the win con of the deck, and you flip triggers and it's Keter pile. You put out a bunch of cards early and just pray. So yeah, going over Zero again, I just wanted to put them up screen for people who maybe didn't see it last week. Alright, so now we're moving on to the Ace units, and the Ace units are pretty straightforward. We have Lovestruck Maiden Penshi. So Ace unit, unique skill, auto when these units placed on rearguard circle other than during the battle phase, gets plus 5k until end of turn, and then cost energy blast 3, look at the top 7, choose up to 1 card from among them, discard it, and shuffle the deck. So discarding means put into drop, and you choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to Vanguard from your drop, and call to rearguard circle. Again, you can only use unique skills once per fight. And then auto rearguard circle when these unit attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, until end of battle gets power plus 5k. Then if your drop is 10 number cards, this unit gets plus 5k again. The second skill for the on attack is a little bit harder. Unless you're, usually around turn 3, especially if you're playing like a deck that mills like Zorga or Levy or whatever, especially when you're soul blasting and ditching a lot, you're essentially going to have 10 cards and drop pretty early. But I can see this being maybe a little bit awkward to not reach like 25. But again, the effect is really good. Selective mill from deck and call from drop is just always going to be good. So a really solid Stochiea Ace unit all around. So the other Ace unit that we got actually today is the Keter one, and the Keter one's also pretty straightforward as well. We have Knight of Holy White Iskit, and he's Ace unit, of course, with the unique skill of place on rearguard circle other than during the battle phase, gets plus 5k until end of turn, and then cost energy blast 3. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose the 1 normal unit with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them, call to rearguard circle, and choose either that unit or this unit, and it gets continuous rearguard circle. This unit cannot be chosen or retired by opponent's card ability, so resist and anti-retire. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, you shuffle your deck. Pretty good. It gives resist to whatever you call or to itself, and also anti-retire again. And it's also deck thinning and shuffling your deck, so it's just a solid unit. And then the secondary skill, auto rearguard circle on attack. Opponent's Vanguard's Great Through Critter gets plus 5k. If you have 4 more rear guards, it gets additional plus 5k. So again, the 25 beater threshold. And the easiest condition of 4 more rears, just like T-Fault. So the easiest thing in the world. Every Keter deck is definitely going to be playing one of this. It's just that good. Unless maybe, I think Alfred might be a little bit tight on this because you want to spend your energy to use, let's like 0 skills. So you're not as CBS heavy to draw 1. But again, this card is still just really good. Like you find the 1-of, it's a free deck in, it gives resist, like it can help keep your board against certain matchups and maybe play around like things where you don't want your units to get removed, obviously. So yeah, really solid. Also interesting that it can choose itself. And, you know, it's just another card to add to the Keter pile. It checks top 7, calls a normal unit, and deck hits. It's just that good. So the next thing I want to cover really quick are the festival reprints that were announced with the last Thursday live stream. And so we have the core reprints, which are actually really big for these grade 3s because we never got these in English. They were actually Bushy monthly promos, I believe, or released in ways that we never got in English. So for example, like Wall Street Black, Ashram, we have, you know, like Deku Boy, we have the baby Stochiea, which is basically like overdressed in Stochiea and Dangerous Grandpa. So it's really cool that we're finally getting these units supposedly in English. We haven't had, I believe, the live stream cap that tells us this yet, but so far all the news that we've had revealed for Festival and JP, we've gotten also in English. And also we got more collections for big reprints. We got Blaster Blade reprinted that was getting bought out on TCG, so that's really nice. We have like Cindy reprinted again, Blossom Blade the Vanguard. Yuika reprint is really big, obviously. This doesn't seem to be the full list of reprints, but these are like honestly really nice reprints that we're getting. They also showed re's that we're getting per nation. So the big ones I would say are like Brandgate, we have Imigrar. For Dark States, we have Butcher. For Red, we have like the Doji promo, Tamayura. For Keter, we have Blossom Blade Grade 1 promo, and not Tamayura, that's Degria. For Stochiea, we have big ones, like we have Delphina, we have the Emirates Grade 1 write-up, we have the Hawaii Fruit 2. For Lyrical's a little bit weird, we got like Vercelia reprinted, Sienna promo, and like some other stuff that like I wasn't sure we really needed, but like, yeah, Lyrical's a bit on the weird side for Reese. But honestly, all the other ones are really big, Imigrar probably being the biggest one, as well as Stilt. And the B Hero promo as well. Those are really, really big for Brandgate because those were a little bit pricey in English. So really nice to see those reprinted. So the last thing to cover is the triple rares from the festival generics. I'm not going to cover the Dragon Empire one because it's like honestly pretty bad, but we have the Keter one, which is Cavalry Armor Dragon Shivleds, and this could maybe find use in like Bastion and Alden, mostly Bastion, but has continuous Rearguard Circle, Guardian Circle, gets Intercept, +5 shield. Really nice. You can finally guard with Bastion early. Thank goodness. I mean, you had Biscotti and other stuff before. But anyways, auto Rearguard Circle when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, other than during your battle phase. If your Vanguard is Great Through Critter, you cost energy boss 3 until end of turn. It gets boost, power +5k. So, you know, a big booster for your, let's say, like Accord push turn. If either your damage zone has 4 more cards or you Persona Roll this turn, you look at the top 3 cards, choose up to 1 Grade 3 or less card, call the Rearguard Circle, gets power +5k, and put the rest of the cards on the bottom deck in any order. So, honestly, really solid card. For Bastion, you could call your CC Owl. You could be calling like Alden off this and then counter boss 2, soul loss 1, draw 1. Like there's a really good targets you can get off this card for Bastion. I think Bastion will definitely play this. I don't know about the other Keter palette decks because I think you just play the Ace unit, but honestly Bastion will probably also play the Ace unit because it's just that good. It's check top 7 call and it's a 25 beater. A little bit awkward, let's say in like maybe Prime, but like in Accord when you're only doing 4 swings and you're standing that rear and giving that rear twin drive, it's probably all right. So, you know, this is something for Bastion, considering that the promo, if you saw it last Thursday, was honestly not that great. The Alden / Bastion promo, it wasn't the greatest. All right, so the other last 3 cards I want to cover are actually double rares from Festival, and they're honestly pretty big additions. We have the first one, which is the Route Iron Knight Sharburn. And so this is Cody Blaze and Zedland support, so continuous. If you have a Great Through Greater Vanguard with either Cody Blaze or Zedland's card name, it gets boost and all of the following. So auto, when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, choose a Smithy card from your order zone. So these are the set orders for Zedlands, and you may stand it. If you do not stand a card, you look at the top 5 cards, choose a 1 card from among them, put into your soul, shuffle your deck. So for Cody Blaze, it's just check top 5, shove into soul. For Zedlands, it could also be deck thinning. So honestly, really solid effect. And then auto Rearguard Circle, once your turn, at the end of the battle, your Vanguard attacked. If your opponent's Vanguard is Great Through Greater, cost discard a card from hand and perform either choose one of your Vanguards and increase or decrease its drive to 1, or all of your front row units get +5 cans on a turn. So for Zedlands, this is going to be triple drive into, it gets -2 drive and then drive +1, so 1 drive, so it's doing 4 drives. And then for Cody Blaze, this is essentially you're basically not using the first effect because your Vanguard isn't restanding until you get 2 more Cody Blazes in the soul and it's setting your drive to 1 anyway. So you're probably using all the front row to get +5 until end of turn 90% of the time in Cody Blaze. Honestly, really solid card for the deck. I don't think this is essentially solving Cody Blaze's problems, but I mean, it's +5k to the front row is really good. All right, so the last 2 cards I want to cover are the Impaldio / Northinger card as well as the Gear Dragon support card. So we have Internet Disseminator, and honestly, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't know how else to say it. You just won't play it. But anyways, continue Rearguard Circle. If you have a Great 3 or greater Vanguard with either Impuldio or Durlinger's name, it gets all the following. Auto on place from Rearguard Circle from hand. Cost Soul Blast 1, check top 7, choose either a Meteor card or a Great 3 or greater card with a different card of your Vanguard without Regulus piece from among them, reveal it, put into your hand, so this could be a set order or a unit card, and when this unit boosts, it gets power plus 2 until end of turn. So honestly, pretty lackluster. Impuldio already had really good deck thinning and calling from deck. For Durlinger, your deck space is just too tight. Like, yes, you could grab Gravidia Mass off this because you already had a way to search Mass, and that could help your consistency, but this isn't really helping Gravidia / Nordlinger decks really that much. So honestly, not a great card. Just kind of going to skip over this. That's basically my thoughts on it. Alright, so the last card I want to cover is the Eternal and Immortal Gear Pirate, which is the support for Timestamp Dragon and Chronojet Dragon, because he's a Gear Dragon. So continuous, if your Vanguard is a Gear Dragon, it gets all the following. Auto, when placed on Rearguard Circle, choose it to one normal unit without Sentinel from either your drop or your bind zone, put it on the bottom of the deck. If you chose, this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn. And then auto, when this unit is either put on the bottom of the deck from your Rearguard Circle by your card's ability during your turn, or bound from Rearguard Circle by your card's ability during your turn. If your Vanguard's greater or greater, cost counter plus 1, energy plus 3, draw a card, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 5 until end of turn. So honestly, the second effect is really solid. More so use in Timestamp. CB or energy is also pretty costly. I mean, Timestamp has the room to afford it. Jet, not really. Like, you're spending all your energy on Tiskar or Clockwise or something. This does have synergy with the Gear Goat promo that Jet got, and that Timestamp also plays. But it's still a little bit costly in terms of energy and CB, so you'll probably play it less so in Jet. I think Jet still runs Phila, Ford, the usual stuff, kind of just tries to play early game and draws a billion cards. With this, you do have synergy with Gear Goat, but I think it'll be a little bit awkward because yes, you do want to put normal units back to deck, but it's not the biggest like problem in Jet. You have enough deck space, you have enough like drawing of cards that it's really not a big issue. I think Timestamp Dragon, this is a way bigger upgrade, especially because it's like really, it makes your combos a little bit less awkward. And again, it has synergy with Gear Goat if you want to play that in Timestamp Dragon instead of like the generics that you usually play, for example, like the order package. But I mean, honestly, solid card. Alright, so if you made it to the end of the video, I'm here to share a few Alfred lists. So a lot of people have been showing some online, but I do want to talk about some of the tech options and show off a list from a friend, which I'll credit him down below. So first off, I want to talk about his list because I think it's honestly pretty solid. I mean, it's Keter. It's kind of hard to go wrong with this. But you have, of course, Sargon, Leo Valtrosa. Drilling Angel is just there for the extra soul, and you can tutor a lot of things that are 4-ofs. You have Luviron, which is the new Persona set 7 cycler. Basically spawns Persona shields. And then, of course, you have 4 Cocoa because that card is just too good in this deck. It is still a really solid card for the deck. You're definitely playing forfeit because it's just plus. You can also shove Alfred to Soul to get that drive check off Virgilia. Of course, Gallatin's at 4. You have Shroud in the Darkness here because you can recur those on-place effects such as like Coca or another rearguard such as like Zero from drop or Virgilia. So honestly, really good support all around. Tranquilla's just here because like it's free basically by revealing 3 hand cards. You could play, let's say, Merlin or something else in the slot, but like the ride line's pretty straightforward. Whatever grade 1 you want, Blaster Blade to guarantee the crit, and then of course Alfred in the ride line. For the other tech options, we also have Dindrane here to CC, as well as Topaz, because he's basically mentioned to me that like on the turn where you play Dindrane, of course you Soul Blast, and then you have your ride deck into drop, and then you have Topaz immediately active. Of course, you don't want to Soul Blast Blaster Blade because that could be a little bit of a problem, and like Drilling Angel kind of helps backseat that a bit if something does go horribly wrong and you have to Soul Blast. But a lot of people were looking at Dindrane and Topaz as really solid options, and you can play them as like 1 or 2-ofs. They're honestly good, like Keter, just kind of throw in there, call it a day. Of course, your dual nations, Veltroso and Lille, are of course really good. And your other options are kind of mixed. You do have like Greedy if you want to high roll and kind of go harder in terms of damage. Dindrane also over Fascietta, which is the old card that lets you Soul Blast 2 to CC, because it kind of just is on command and lets you just do it early. Because you use up your CB and your energy really, really fast in this deck to just draw and plus early. And besides that, I guess you could play Wisdom and Teethfault as well. But the lists I'm showing up here are basically... Oh, and for the second list as well, for the one of the CFA images, one of the cards are missing. So you can basically just play like another Drilling or Leo Voltrosa in that slot. But yeah, the main cards you definitely want to pick up are Cocoa for sure. Of course, all the cards from Festival, Zero Gallatin when he comes out. And then Persona Shield Cyclers, I think, are a little bit more flexible. But like, they're still really good in this deck because at worst, you can put it behind Van, get the 10k shield, and then of course you can't boost Alfred, but he's just there to fill up your board and make sure Alfred's getting plus 10 with that crit pressure. So besides that, the deck's pretty straightforward, and I think people will definitely mess around with it. Alfred is really popular, and I think a lot of people in Asia will also play it as soon as the set comes out for Festival, and they'll also be getting Zero which I saw people were also hoping to fill out surveys and other stuff. So definitely give your feedback to Bushiroad if you want to see Zero release a long festival in English. I hope that happens. I hopefully don't have another Blasted Blade the Vanguard situation. But yeah, a bunch of yapping from me. Basically covered everything somehow. I look at the recording now, it's somehow 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to cut this down. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the deck list as well as the all the new cards. And thank you so much for watching.